generally, these studies point to the idea that what's going on differently between gay and straight people is something in the brain when it's first assembling itself before birth. Now, in other words, there are processes when the hypothalamus and other parts of the brain are being created, when the nerve cells are being born and starting to develop and form connections before birth, that goes forward differently in fetuses that ultimately become gay adults and those become straight adults. And the difference seems to be brought about, at least in part, by sex hormones that are circulating in the blood of the fetus. These hormones come from the gonads, from the testes or ovaries of the fetus. They enter the brain and they influence how the brain develops in a sexual sense, whether it develops in a more masculine or more feminine direction. And there's a lot of evidence now that this process really goes forward differently in, if you like, gay and straight fetuses. These subtle anatomical differences or physiological differences that have been described recently, finger length ratios, in the physiological properties of the inner ear, fingerprint patterns and so forth, they all seem to fit into the same basic picture, which is to say they seem to be caused or result from differences in the way that sex hormones are interacting with the brain and the body during early life. So high levels of testosterone seem to drive the brain and the body in a male typical direction. Low levels allow the brain and the body to develop in a more sort of female typical direction. And it's that sort of general process, if you like, that causes there to be some kind of link between these anatomical features like finger length ratios and a person's sexual orientation. It's as if it's part of a big package of traits, all of which have some common developmental process behind them.
There is a biological underpinning. There is something that has changed the brain, probably during development of gay men and lesbian women, that makes their brain not only look differently anatomically, but also functionally. It functions differently. Gay men have, in certain regions of the brain, patterns of activation that looks more like the pattern of activation that's seen in straight women. So, and it's certainly different from the pattern of activation that you can see in straight men.